Welcome to the Architect of Resilience podcast, where we explore the secrets of overcoming life's challenges and unlocking unstoppable strength through deep personal conversations and expert insights.
So John, what do you think? I welded this up just for you today. I added the my second stand here. I got scrap metal and 35-pound plates. They're the scum of the earth. They're just completely useless, and so every now and again I find a use for one. So anyway, that's what's holding our mics up today.
I like this. Is this regular pipe? So like weights, regular pipe, yeah?
So this is actually a sleeve for a barbell. So I got that scrap out of my, because I have a company that makes barbells.
Yeah.
And this is what would be the material that's a handle on a shoulder rock.
There you go.
And I grabbed this tab. It's a suspension tab, various extra I had making up, and I slapped it together, and I think it's fucking fabulous.
Microphones from there.
Yeah. So just put stuff together and make it happen. So
yeah, I like it.
So speaking of making stuff happen, for our audience, I've got John McPhee on. He is SOB Tactical. That's not son of a bitch. That's Sheriff of Baghdad. So it'd be easy to introduce yourself as the with your background, Delta Force, Green Beret, operator, doing tons of solo missions in Iraq, Afghanistan. Today you specialize in close quarter combat training for, military, police, civilians, all of that. You're a legend in the world that you work in. Now, a lot of our audience may not be in that tactical realm, although I think it's peripheral to what we do. But I like to put my guests on the spot to do an intro for themselves. And the intro is to not rely on all that. It's to not rely on the awards, the accolades, the things you've accomplished, but who is John as it relates to strip that away? What are your values?
My values.
And how does that interact with the world in your life today? So who is John without the resume?
Yeah, well, look, I'm a simple guy. I am a child at heart. I'm into everything. And I feel like I'm always a student. Like, I have to learn, something today. I don't care what it is, but I'd feel better if I learned something today. So I was in the Army for a long time. And I think what it showed me was just never stop learning. You know what I mean? And then every day I'm into something. I'm in all kinds of shit.
Yeah. But you did so much different. You were in so many different operations in the military and in so many different roles as well.
Yeah.
Is it that, or I know that you spent so much time doing solo missions as well, which is pretty unique.
Yeah.
What of that really was that? Were you a learner before this, or did this really highlight that for you?
I think for my brain, you have to quantify, tell me something. I need to know why first. But once I figure out the why, I can sort through it really quick, right? So I always need to know the why, and you don't always get that, right? So I've always thought like that.
How far back can you get you thinking that way or remembering instances like that?
Always. Ever since I was a kid, it got me in trouble. You know what I mean? Because adults sometimes tell kids bullshit, you know what I mean? And you're like, wait a minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my brain's always thought like that, always. So, and then I think it slows me down from learning a little bit because it takes me longer to absorb. But once I figure it out, I'll give you a run for money. Let's do this,
Yeah, because you really want to understand it and not just hear what it is, so it actually takes longer.
Yeah, sometimes there's stuff you can't talk through. Leverage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to kind of show me. And then I think most people are that way. And I think like I grew up in a time where you had to read books. You know, you had to read about it somewhere.
Let's dive into the world of optimizing your overall health. With pushing my physical limits, I encountered significant reductions in my health, and I reached out to Merrick Health as the premier telehealth service. I loved their personalized health coaching from the comfort of my home. They empower you with the choice of self-service diagnostic labs, or what I chose, the guided optimization with expert interpretations of blood work, health coaching, and with medications delivered to my door. Merrick Health is your partner in optimizing your health. Listeners can seize a fantastic 10% discount off their first blood work with code RESILIENCE at merrickhealth.com. That's code RESILIENCE for 10% off.
And I think people are video.
Yeah.
Like, show me that YouTube video. I'll fix that shit. You know what I mean? It's shit I didn't even know about, right? Like, so I think I've always been like that. It's just the world hadn't caught up yet.
What are some of the things, like, as a child that got you in trouble with having to that desire to learn and know more? Humor,
right? Always humor, because, like, I'll call it like I see it. Adults don't think that's funny.
Did that get you in trouble as well in the military?
Yes. I professionally talk shit. A PhD level from the Army, I think. And it always gets me in trouble. You know what I mean?
But today, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, I think some people, it's just their reaction, humor. And I think humor in general is a good reaction, like a happy reaction, you know. So, and then most people are like, man, shut the fuck up, you know. Now, humor with truth, like, yo, that's when people really hate you. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes I do that. I don't know. I don't know if I got time.
Yeah, there's also just the mental experience of being able to let go and the physical reaction of it.
Yeah.
So the movie hasn't been published on the grand goals when I chased my 1,000-pound squat, but there's the last few weeks, like in my training, like I was practicing just like this maniacal laughter during my warm-ups and in between sets, where it was just like Joker laughing and people like, what is going on? But I'd be over there. Just, you know, and because of the physiological effects that has, because just watching a funny movie and just
it's good energy, whatever,
and not taking yourself so seriously all the time. Like, you can still, like, respect your skills and respect what you've accomplished in the world, but, like, chill out, relax seems like it helps, you know, live a longer, healthier, more satisfying life, right?
Yeah, I learned a while ago I could be the asshole today, or I could smile and have a good day. So, I was a major asshole, and I was burned out. I didn't know it, and then one day, I just thought, fuck, I'm gonna try to be nice.
That's awesome that came in a day, that epiphany hit you.
And then
can you elaborate more on like your state and where you're at, like leading into that, and the realization and then the shift afterwards, and how, you know, did you have to be purposeful and intentful for a while to make it really shift? But I'm fascinated.
It's easy.
I'm fascinated by this.
I realized I used to be funny. Once I realized that, I could make the shift from I'm not funny no more. I was an asshole. But what I didn't know was I was really just burned out. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, I'm just gonna smile.
What was the tell me more about the burnout, like how that affected you and what drove that. Was that, is it from, the depths of like what you dealt with in warfare? I'm sure that had some level on it. Was it, just the monotony of like, work life? Like how did you recognize like I am burnout? What did this feel like? And
I wasn't funny no more. I was a dick.
Fair enough.
And then, I was just, nothing was funny anymore. So, and then I realized I was stuck.
Yeah, a few years ago, it's been but I got in this state myself where I found like I was getting annoyed, like being in the checkout station when somebody asked like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Or like, like, why are you like, and I was kind of a jerk, and my wife was calling me out on it for like 6 months. And I'm just like, wow, this is not me.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting taking that, for me, it was taking that step back out of myself and observing myself in that reaction and going, that's not me.
Yeah.
Like, why am I responding this way?
Yeah.
And it was certainly a shift in because I would believe I was the same thing.
Right.
This is, I think it was
I
following.
call that like one chapter, like you get stuck on one chapter in a book.
Can't get past it.
But that book's got to have more chapters.
Yeah. Are you still an avid reader?
I did. I read your book on the way here. I listen to books. And I try to read, but like listening, like when I drive or something. So I listen to a lot of books. I try to absorb as much as I can all the time, in general.
Yeah. So it's interesting talking about. So just before we sat down, we were talking about like technology, but that's what I do. I make videos.
Yeah.
Like the world today, it's all videos, but. You produce videos, I produce videos, but my upbringing's the same way. Like you read my book, like I literally like sat there growing up reading books, mountains of them, because I had no TV, I had nothing. And so it was like by candlelight, by flashlight, just absorbing. And now I'm the same thing. I digest Audible books is my primary form of that. But I think that there's a disconnect. I found myself not going on for a little over a year now. Like I don't really go on social media. Like I go posting things on there, and it's not a negative about social media, which I do think has some significant negatives, but I think it is really interesting the connections that can be had there, because that really has changed my life. Like I wouldn't be sitting here with you if it wasn't for that aspect, because of the ability to connect to different people. Like we've got a mutual friend, Pratt Daddy.
My man, shout out.
Yep. And it's really fascinating how small the world has become with those relationships and networks. So I don't like to be the guy that trashes on that stuff, but there's also still like, I think we need to be thoughtful with how we use anything. And it's really interesting, the impact of the changes in that manner. Do you find yourself changing in how you digest stuff itself, with the ease of like how easy it is to how accessible that is?
Yeah, it's easy for me. I don't got none of it. It's garbage. Get away from it. Get it off your phone. Only do it when you gotta do it. It's a one-way radio. That's it.
One-way radio.
It's not social.
Yeah.
It's just media. And like, I make my funny videos. I would tell anyone, don't look at the comments, because it's just going to burn you up. Like, it's not worth the stress. So here's what I'd say. Do your grind, do your thing, don't look back.
Don't look back. Life is out the front window of your car. There's nothing behind you. It's
we're doing
it's
it.
in the
We're
rearview
doing
mirror,
it right now. We're
like,
doing
the
it.
past is in the past. Like that is the reality of it, right? Now we could talk, argue some physics as it relates to space-time and all that, but that's not the show for this.
No. Hey, we're doing it, right? I'm out there. I'm always trying to do something. That's better than what? What's your options? Nothing. You do nothing. You sit on the couch. Like, I've been there. I don't want to go back.
So I want to switch gears a little bit here, and this is the Architect of Resilience podcast, right? So we talk about being
wherever
resilient.
you are.
That's right. Right there. Being resilient, being resilient and trying to empower ourselves to do that in mind, body, soul, and that takes being able to push yourself in those realms, to get uncomfortable, to experience, to grow. How would you define strength in the context of your tactical training and operations and things that you do today?
Well, we make a t-shirt that says, true strength is standing when everyone expects you to fall. So I would imagine that's the definition of strength. However, like, there's different kinds of strength. There's like physical body, biceps. But I would say just being strong is more than anything, maybe a total package thing, always.
What is that? What is that total package?
Maybe mind and body, like, I would say with anything you do, you got to have your head in the game. So there's your mind.
Yeah. Do you have any tools for how you do, like, in your environment, having your head in the game?
Man, I got all kinds of tools. The biggest one, positivity. That's the best thing you could do.
What are the major things that you've seen, people that you train, or, in your experience in the military, for example, that hold people back from being positive?
I would say nothing. Nothing holds you back, right? Seriously.
But the people that you have seen that have struggled with, being positive, what do you?
I don't know. Nothing's holding them back. Like, you could just be positive, right? So, I don't know. Like, it's mind over matter. This could suck, or we could just say it sucks and deal with it like adults. Like, so I think, like, sometimes, like, it's as easy as just getting your mind right, and then if your mind was a battery, always trying to be the positive battery, right?
Yeah. It certainly is a choice, and I find that you need to be in a positive space to be able to see all the potential avenues. Because if you're negative, if you've got fear in your life, if you've got those things, it creates this blinder effect, this narrowing of your vision of the possibilities, and then it becomes a reinforcing, because all that happens is you're not able to take advantage of the opportunities that may be wildly in front of you, but you can't see them because you've got this filter on in front of you. And
well, also you run off a habit, and that could be fear.
Yeah.
Right? Your habit could be fear or not positivity. And then you got to change your habit.
I think that's really valuable hearing coming from you, right? Because in your environment, like, people will argue, well, you're just not in an environment where fear is real, where you've got like something that could kill you, right? That could be like, and that is the vast level of like your tactical experience is being in an environment where the fear is like, yeah, it's real, but how do you approach that?
Yeah. We're all going to die. Don't let it ruin your day kind of deal. Honestly,
That's very true. Very true.
Kind of simple, but seems to work so far. I'm not sure. I'll let you know how it goes. You know what I mean? So far, so good. I don't know, but like, it's literally that simple, I think, sometimes. And I think, you know, like, especially being in the Army, it's like, it's Army strong, not Army smart. You know what I mean? No one's telling you to be smart. And I would tell you, I always wanted the smartest guy. You know what I mean? Not like just a guy.
So how did that work for you with, you know, you're saying they didn't want the smartest guy, but you're a person that also like constantly needed to know more. Is that why you continued to kind of move and try to develop in the different areas that you did in the military, leading to the development of your, you know, unique expertise? Or was it a struggle? Like,
well, every day's a struggle for one, and ending up where I ended up is more a matter of luck pre-internet than anything else I could have planned, because you can't kind of plan that. But I would say, look, this is simple in an Army simple way. Like, if we do stuff that we don't like to do, let's get it over with quick. And then if you eat food that you don't like, keep it in your mouth for the least amount of time. Like, there's some simple rules you could live by that were like, well, this sucks. Yeah, this is what adulting's about. Let's get it over with. And then we move on with our days. Like, we could all be poopy. I could be poopy. You could be poopy, right? But the reality is like, we're going to have to go on with our day. So I would tell anybody, like, you just got to do what you got to do sometimes, but know it going into it, so like, you know, you're not a dick about stuff that doesn't matter, because, you know, we're all gonna die.
Can't control it. Your attitude isn't going to change it for the better.
Right. And I used to tell guys as a sergeant major all the time, like I think this sucks too. You think I want to clean the shitters, huh? You think I want to tell you to clean the shitters? No, I don't want to do any of this. You know what I mean? But like, yo, here we are. Like, let's, if it smells clean, it is clean. Let's get to scrubbing. We'll get done with it, and then we can move on with our day. Like, it's that simple, right? So, and then I also think that's a leadership style, like, or mine anyway, you know?
Yeah.
Honesty.
Yeah, no, like, not trying to dress it up and be a rah, like, no, this is a great, like, it's fucking shitty. Let's go get it done. Like, here's
dumb, let's go.
Like, I love my 6-year-old daughter. She's doing homework right now. I know it sounds silly, 6, but she asked to get in this Kumon program for math and reading, but every now and again she'll get an assignment that she doesn't like. And she can do it really easy, but because she doesn't like it, she'll sit there for like 45 minutes instead of
just
5
knocking
minutes,
it out.
because she just, like, same thing. Doesn't want to do it, but doesn't, like, if I actually just focused on, like, I'd be done. And I could move on to playing.
I didn't learn that till I was like 38. You know what I mean? So like,
smart.
she's got time, I think. You know what I mean? I didn't do that, like, seriously. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't do that till later in life. I think I was retired before I learned that skill. Like, oh yeah. No.
So, let's talk about your training, because I personally love dichotomies of, like, extremes, like where people say, if you're gonna, my favorite is like with, like, lifting. If you're gonna put everything into it, forms goes out the window. Or I want the absolute perfect, and it's like people don't want to load any weight on the bar. Absolutely fucking disagree with this. And I found it interesting, your discussions around the tactical element of efficiency, accuracy, and speed, all needing to be simultaneous. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like that, I align with that. Like, so can you tell me more about that and how you work on developing that? Because I can talk about it with squatting all day long, but not with shooting.
It's a practice thing, right? Practice ends up being the definition of insanity. And then why do I say that? Is because you do the same shit over and over, thinking you're doing something else, but the part of your brain that does the shit just does the same shit over and over. And it takes seeing that video to go, huh, I didn't know I was doing that. Like I tell people all the time, hey, don't do that. And then I take a video and they're like, I didn't think I was doing that until you showed me the video. Like, so you listen to nothing I say. That's what someone just admits to, right? But the reality is like, sometimes your brain thinks you're the world champion, but really, like, you look like Barney Fife, you know what I mean? And you're trying to get those two to meet, right? And then the kind of next thing that goes with that, I tell people all the time, is habit and comfort. Habit is a matter of comfort, but it doesn't denote technically correct. They all got to meet if you want to master this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love you got to put in 10,000 hours to be a master.
No.
Like 10,000 hours of
Do
crap.
it right
10,000
10
hours
times.
10,000 hours of fucking crap.
Yeah.
And
I say just do it 10 times. I tell guys for homework, especially with like if like a police officer or someone wanted to practice his draw, I would tell him one good one a day from whatever they give you that you consider your work stuff. And I would tell you one good reload a day. Why? Because if you had someone watch you or you videotaped it and you looked at it and you're like, I look like crap. If you just did that for a year, imagine where you'd be. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And we only got to spend 30 seconds a day doing it.
So you're focusing on doing it, but super intentful with how you're doing it.
Yeah. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Not just practice, that's insanity. Perfect practice makes perfect.
He's repeating and repeating. So like when I'm coaching somebody new technique, they'll oftentimes want to just keep getting it till they got it. And I'm like, no. We're going to work on some stuff and then just stop. And then because as soon as you start breaking down or stop making progress, we stop. Because you're just ingraining these patterns and it's like, come back to it. And sometimes even 15 minutes of rest, come back and it's like, boom, they'll all of a sudden master and be to the next step. But as soon as they have some breakdown, and I'm even practicing it with my son in driving right now. It's like, we just do short, like, boom, done. Like, we're not going to go out and practice for a half an hour if you're like short periods of perfection.
Yeah, I agree with this, and I do this all the time. I think human beings, like rules of thumb, little kids, 1 minute for every year, whatever people say for little kids, right? Okay, that means at 54, I got 54 minutes of focus. I couldn't focus on anything for 54 minutes. You know how long that is? So like, okay, your rule, it's crap. However, I think it's right in the sense that there's a certain time limit per age, but I don't think it's 1 minute. I think people have like 10 seconds, 5 seconds per age. So like, a 1-year-old, right, has like 5 seconds. That's it. They're on to something else, right? But think about this. Okay, if that's true, do the math. What should I have? And you'll see it'll be like 10 minutes maybe. So like, let's keep this to 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I think people learn best in what I call frequency hopping. Like if we could do different stuff every short period of time, you'll learn better because you stop thinking about one, you think about another. But when we come back to this, if we just did perfect practice, it'll probably be your best one.
So is that how you structure, like when you're doing, sessions with people?
I also like long range. I call it pattern of hits for the long range. And what it is like, if you miss too many times in a row, just stop. Look away, look down, take a break. I'll come back to you. And every time a guy will be like, he'll kind of be mad that like he missed in front of everybody and I got to come back to him. But like generally it's like some weird brain block to where if we take a break and come back, he's going to hit on the first try.
Yes.
Every time.
Okay.
So
That's really it's transfer because I do the exact same thing.
Yeah, all the time. And then, but he'll be mad a little bit. And then once a guy learns, once they break from it and they come back to it, they get that first round hit, right? They're kind of like, whoa, something's going on. And that I call it a pattern of hits. So what I try to do is get a guy one hit, and then get him another hit, and then 3 in a row, you know what I mean? And then 4 in a row, right? And then his brain gets this, like, because, you know, brains reward punishment kind of deal, right? So the brain starts going, oh, this is good, I'm doing a good job. You'll almost never miss, more so than, well, we shot 172 rounds today.
You're totally flying in the face of what all the grind mentality people
I know.
profess. Like, you just got to get out there and shoot for 14 hours or whatever the discipline is. You just got to put in more time and the goal is to outwork everyone. If you outwork everyone, you're gonna be best.
Yo, my guys crush everybody all over the country, and like and I tell guys every morning, if we're here past 2:00, you guys screwed this up because I'm here every day. You know what I mean? But like, like, you don't have to. Look, one of the things when I retired was, how do you train and not do 16 or 20 hours a day? How many hours did I actually need to get this right, to all this stuff? And
full effective dose. Yeah.
Right. And then what I realized is I started doing this in the later years with a pistol, or only because I just had less time to shoot the pistol, right? And I normally carried a rifle every night. I would only do like maybe 20 rounds every couple times a week, but yet my pistol started increasing. You know what I mean? It's the least thing I do. What's going on here? And then what I realized was I was overdosing on everything I did. And when I kept everything more compressed, which gave me more time for other stuff, right? All my stuff got better.
Yeah.
As an individual, you know what I mean? And that's what, like, you know, you got to build your core. If you're good at anything, you got to have a core, and that core is like, you know, all the stuff you could think of in a leadership book, resilience and courage, like all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's all kind of in there. Call it whatever you want. That's kind of like where that comes from, I think.
I look, so, and there's interesting, because it's, if we dive deeper, there's a lot of physiology and neurology behind this, literally, because it's like, as soon as you start accumulating a little bit of fatigue, and that could be mental awareness, neurological, or again, physiological, we start compensating. And other, like, for, you know, just like talked about the squat, as soon as I start doing too much and fatigue starts kicking in, I start getting breakdown in my patterns, other muscles start kicking in to compensate, patterns change, I'm not training the movement anymore, then I'm at risk for injury, so on. Like, they are basic mechanisms. And once you understand where you've hit that point at, you just stop and you come back and hit it fresh again. You happen to be fairly good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I am. Well, I'm a purple belt. I wouldn't say I'm, I would say this, come get this neck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for it. Come and get it, you know what I mean? I don't care. I love just the strategy, I've been using it as like functional fitness as an old guy. I know choking younger guys out or getting choked isn't what an old guy should be doing, but I use it for a lot of things, you know what I mean? And it's fun, you know.
How long ago did you start doing that?
Man, I started last year, probably, I don't know. I'd done it on and off, and then it's kind of, this is a long journey for me, right? But it started a long time ago, and like, I won a bunch of tournaments as a blue belt, like the Budweiser World Cup in 2005. So, because like the jiu-jitsu guys came to us where I worked, right? They're like, if you needed a belt, you had to go see one of those guys. But like, you know, during UFC 3, you know, there's like 2 guys you could go see and they're in the UFC, you know what I mean? So it's like, I couldn't just get promoted, and then they'd like, go to this seminar. So I go to a seminar to like see, you know, the guy who comes to us, see him in some other city. And it's like, it'd be like, yo, you know, I came to, okay, I test you. Yes. Go choke 500-pound man. You're like, what? Like, I can't even get my arm around his, you have 30, you don't qualify. So I come back again, and it's like, I can't come back again. I'm too fucking busy. So, I was a blue belt for 26 years. And then I thought, like I used to like going to the dojo every day. Like the reason I stopped going is I live at Bragg, and if you don't want to be headlocked by a 19-year-old paratrooper every night, don't go to fucking open mat night on Bragg any night of the week, because that's what's going to happen, right? So I just got tired of going to the dojo and just like, I was always with lower ranked guys. I was always having guys do weird stuff to my head. Like, I'm not going to tap, but like, I'm going to feel this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, I started going to Raleigh, which is a little bit from my house. And it turns out like one of the guys that I used to do actually just fight with, full up fight. I used to tell him, get your little gloves on, little man, today. And we go at it, but he runs a dojo near me now. And so I was like, well, I'll go back and do this. And I'll tell you, man, I was a shit show for a long time. Total shit show. Like, let me sit up. If any of my coaches are watching, I was a total, and then it just took me time to build, But yeah, I go for a lot of reasons, but I've always loved it, man. I think it's just, I don't know. It's, it's strategy. There's a lot of things, and then I get functional fitness out of it. And then once in a while, like I get to choke another dude. That feels good,
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been a long journey,
Have you employed some of the same concepts with learning new techniques or practicing that you're talking about here in the tactical realm?
Yo, I teach jiu-jitsu with guns. That's why my gun stuff's so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like efficiency, economy of motion. Like I'm definitely more martial art oriented of how I do things in a jiu-jitsu sense than any other way. So I tell all the jiu-jitsu guys that I basically teach jiu-jitsu with a firearm, kinda. If you've been to jiu-jitsu training, you kind of understand that. But there's moves, there's a counter, there, you know what I mean? Contact points. Like there's a lot of similarities, I would say. Similarities.
Yeah. So now it does seem like as you get better with jiu-jitsu, you mentioned you use it for functional exercise, but if you get good, like the exercise component actually drops quite a bit because you get very efficient with your movements. Is that
has been happening? Yeah. I'm probably going to have to start working out a little bit. I feel like I'm older. I feel like my joints, like I came down a peg and I can't get it back no matter how hard I've been going lately, which I don't want to do anyway because I'm old and my joints hurt, right? So but I do feel like I am going to have to add a strength component. Now I do cardio now, no problem, but I really haven't done anything like for strength other than jiu-jitsu. But now that my game is getting better, and you know what I mean? And it's a trade-off, right? Because as my game gets better, I work less.
right? Yeah.
As I work less, I think more. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you're absolutely right, but I do feel like I have to add a strength component sometime here in the near future, for sure.
No, I've been encouraged to do jiu-jitsu for these very reasons because people know I really love the mental strategy.
Oh,
aspect
you
of
love
everything.
it.
Like,
You'd
I'm
love it. You'd be
very
all in it
cerebral,
quick.
And
Yeah, you'd pick it up.
It's been something.
Yeah. I'll tell you, it's fun. If you like anything, I may, it's not for everybody, I would say this, but I'll tell you one of the things I like about it, maybe a little statistic, is like force manipulation of your joints is good sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do believe like I have better range of motion having other people jank on my limbs from time to time. I know that's maybe sounds weird, but I do feel like if I hurt, I know why I would hurt versus waking up and like, oh, I hurt from waking up. I don't do that anymore. I go to jiu-jitsu, another man's ribs or like his face is in my ribs. I know why my ribs hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about like, I think just for me is just going there and doing it, being in that moment, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I know my cardio sucks as a fucking old guy, my joints are weak, you know what I mean? But I have to be smart and I have to fight my game knowing that, you know what I mean? But I do need functional strength. Now, if I get functionally strong, like, I walk into a dojo, I'll be choking almost everybody out here in a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, we need to get you some kabuki strength.
Let's go, coach. Let's go.
So, this question be a little loaded because I know that, like, in the military, you had a lot of times that your strength was challenged. So, can you tell me about like an early moment in your career where you had an experience where, your resilience was challenged in that environment?
Man, my resilience was challenged daily ever since I was a little kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm from the 90s, or what are they, 70s kids with the keys. What do they call us? Like, keys, like I've been on my own since I was little. Okay. Resilience, man. You know, like I would say it's like, I felt like I used a lot of resilience in the beginning of the war when I was younger. Once I kind of got used to it, I didn't give a fuck anymore. So it wasn't resilience. It was just kind of like, the grind. But I would say this, resilience, like, you gotta fucking have a ton of it. If you're gonna stand up. Right? Like, and I would say sometimes that's not easy to do. It's just the standing back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would tell people. Yeah. Stand the fuck up, back, people.
That's step one. Like, and sometimes that's the only step that needs made.
Right.
Standing. So.
But I would say this is like resilience also is like, once you get used to stuff, is it really resilience anymore? Or, like, I think a lot of guys over time I like to think of it as like the opposite of fragile.
Mm-hmm. I'm not wearing my anti-fragile shirt today, but that's one of my branded.
Like
branded shirts.
Something you just can't break. Something you can't break, something like, and I think once you possess that, like, you'll be probably pretty good at this. You know what I mean? Because I would tell you, and we used to see this all the time, like the finish line could be like the other side of the garage door. You want to quit here? One step away, right there. But you wouldn't know, right? Yeah. So, and then generally I would tell you, like, success is just normally that extra step if you stay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's oftentimes like, people get so focused on like how far away the goal is instead of like, what do I got to do? I got to take one more step right now.
Yeah.
And then one more step.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, that one step is you're at the goal. But when you focus on that finish line that's so far out there, that's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
You can't comprehend all the distance between you and it right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, sometimes I tell people, quit looking up and look down. Like, look down, like what do you got to do right now? And just do that one thing.
I'll tell you, I think the biggest thing is people try to look backwards. And like I always say, run your race. Yeah. Right? Always look forward.
Yeah. Yeah. We get caught up like, I've done all this work, I've done whatever it is, and now I'm here. How do I, like, it's like, that no longer matters.
Right.
Like, what is in front of us today? What are the opportunities today?
And that's where that extra chapter in the book comes from. Like, you get stuck at that chapter, right? And you got to move on. No book ends it. Like, it doesn't end because we're all going to die. You ain't happened yet. So obviously there's more to this book. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's why I say you get stuck in that chapter. You know what I mean?
Do you have another story or experience to help articulate a time that...
Tons.
All right, guys, we talk a lot about mental resilience on this podcast, but let's talk about another type of resilience. That's movement resilience. We want to move well, recover better, and do it for life. And it starts with your feet. And you can start today with Naboso. Naboso is a sensory technology company founded by a functional podiatrist. And all their products feature a texture to stimulate, strengthen, and awaken your feet. I use their splay toe spacers and Neuroball to release my feet at the end of every day. They also have these textured recovery socks that feel like a mini massage when you walk around. If you're looking for an effective way to bulletproof your feet, head to naboso.com. That's NABOSO.com and use code RESILIENCE for 20% off.
Resilience again?
No, I meant on the getting stuck on that.
Man,
Looking at the past and
yeah, every fucking veteran, right? Every guy who drinks too much, all my buddies, they're stuck in the past. They never thought they'd be this age. And what they didn't realize is grinding for a living because you got children and shit is like a lot of work, like a lifetime of work. And, well, what do you do, right? And like, but it's that, like, my opinion, that's the victim mentality, because like, if we're gonna do this shit, like, let's do this shit with style. You know what I mean? Bust out the nachos. Let's have some drinks. Let's live a little, right?
Yeah.
This might suck, but like, it doesn't totally have to suck.
I'm
You know
telling
what I
you,
mean?
you do that, and the opportunities will unfold in front of you.
Right, all the time, right? And then it's like that positive battery thing we talked about.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, all the time, like, guys, they just get stuck in that chapter, and nothing wrong with them, and no one's got bad intent, and I say that all the time, but like, they are stuck in that chapter, and then something's got to break them out of that chapter. And what I tell guys to do is find something you like and do a lot of it, or find a few things you like and do a lot of them.
That's good advice.
Right? Like, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because you're, speaking to someone here, like, my life is doing things that they weren't really jobs. Fucking create, because it's.
I would call this a lot of something. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call this a little of something. We're sitting under a truck. I don't know if you people know this. I don't know if he normally does this, but like, he's got a truck and neon light, and like, he painted in here. Like, it's fucking legit. Like, this is a lot of something, right? Like, but I don't think it's just you or me. I think it's most people need. And then they don't find that, so what do? Nothing. Like, you do nothing. And that's kind of what I got tired of, is just kind of being fat and doing nothing. And like, the VA just wants you to take your pills and shut the fuck up. It's better living through science, right? But like, the reality is like, wow, there's no quality of life in that. And that's one chapter.
On that page. And next thing you know, you turn the page and life's over. Like, fuck, I just spent 40 years on that page.
Well, no,
right?
or that shit might kill you. Not a doctor, but that shit might kill you. You know what I mean? Taking all the weird shit they want you to take for old people. Like, anyway, I started just trying to, like, I started telling myself I was going to walk 30 minutes a day. That's where it started. Just be less fat, walk 30 minutes. And then people have asked me, I'm not fucking soul searching. I just got tired of being fucking, like, I have a soul. I know, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool. Me and my soul are good. It's me and this body is fat. I just got tired of, like, the whiskey, the hangover, the pain, the trying to get rid of pain, but you're never getting rid of pain. And like, I've had back pain since I was like in my 30s. Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Anyway, I just kind of got tired of it, and I figured, like, I'll start to be better. Now I do love booze and I like to drink, but like, you can't do it every day. I'm an adult. I know it doesn't look like it on the internet sometimes, but I am responsible. I cut back a little bit. I started walking, and then once I started walking, like, I was like, maybe I could do something else. What else could I do? And I was like, man, I used to like jiu-jitsu. And I went to a dojo, and like, those fools folded me the fuck up. You know what I mean? I was a shit show, and I was like, I was just thinking to myself, like, I gotta do that again. You know what I mean? And then like, I started doing that too, right? But it all started by just making a decision to just fucking do something. Like, go do.
Too many people want to go, like, oh, I'm going to do this, and they just completely, like, okay, to lose weight. So I'm going to now start a full exercise, train 6 days a week. I'm going to go on a massive diet at the same, like, and it's just like, not sustain, like, just take that one step.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the diet.
The next step when it's like,
you're right.
Yo-yo, because you're changing so much, it's not sustainable, and so then you fall back.
You even saying it gave me anxiety, man. I was like, what the fuck? That's way too much, and then the diet is different. I just decided to walk. Diet I changed years ago. I got on the scale, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, and I was like, fuck, I didn't know I could weigh that fucking much, you know what I mean? And then, like, ever since then, like, I just try to be better every year, and I probably lost about 10 pounds a year, but it's one of them things where, like, I just decided to be better, do better. I mean, and I would say this is like, I outlived my dad already. I'm about, I got about 8 years till I meet my mom and where she lived. Like, if my people don't live long, now's the time to fucking start some shit, not 3 months out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, piss poor planning on your part. There's a saying or something like that, right? So, I'm just trying to be better every day. And if I can do more, and I'll tell you, just starting to just walk and stop being so fat, like, man, I've done some great shit that I would have never, like, hey, you want to go do this? Like, let's go. And I'm not a shit show. I'm not embarrassed to be like the fat guy with the red face. You know what I mean? Like, everywhere I go, or too heavy to get on the ride. That's another fucking thing. Like, as a guy, too sorry, sir. No one over 250. Like break your 100-pound ass. You know what I mean? Fucking teenage. Anyway, you're over 250. You can't. Just so you know, you get over 250, you ain't fucking doing shit. No zip lines in your future. No parachute jumping. And I parachute jump. You know what I mean? So, I just decided to be better.
I've met so many people with their backs just ripped apart from that. So
I gotta be
I'm sure you know more.
I do. I still parachute as well. I jump every year. Normally at D-Day, but I won't be jumping D-Day this year, but I did free fall jump D-Day last year over St. Mary Glees, So I do free fall as well.
Cool.
Well, I do static line parachuting and free fall. And then most of it's World War II. You dress up like a World War II paratrooper, and then you wear, you jump out of the World War II planes. It's kind of its own thing. It's unique. If you've never been to D-Day in France, you gotta check this out. I would tell everybody listening, watching, wherever they are, go check this out. This year's the 80th. It'll be a lot of people there, but next year is when I'm gonna rent most of the town square if I can, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell everyone I know we're having a party next year, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Be my evil plan. If I was gonna pull off said evil plan. But it's a whole thing. I'm gonna tell you, it's the most patriotic thing you ever seen. Like, the first time I went, I seen like this pack of like Harley riding paratrooper guys. So I'm like, what's up? And like the dude threw like some Polish or something at me, and I think it was Polish, man. And I know a little about languages, and I was just thinking like, none of these people are actually American, just like World War II paratroopers, like, and there's a lot of like 100 in this pack of and it was all Harleys, like, and that's when I realized, like, wow, actually there might be people in the world that like us, you know what I mean? Like, who knew? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But I tell anyone to go check it out.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
France.
Now, back to, because we were talking about kind of the mental aspect there. What about high stress situations? Do you do anything or teach anything for mental preparedness? What's your philosophy around walking into, high stress, let's say, combat type situations?
I would say the biggest thing I wish I knew my whole time was like better breathing techniques, how to control my breath, how to kind of breathe more freely, or breathing would be the biggest thing I'd say for anybody. You know what I mean? Because I mean, back when I was young and in shape, I didn't think about breathing, or I didn't think about breathing in an aspect that if I could be using it to calm myself down as I'm working. I could be in a lot of ways. So I'd say the biggest thing I wished I had was like, just practice some breathing techniques from time to time. And I know like people are like on the movies, like this Navy SEAL, show me a breathing technique. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you, young, fit guys, like ain't no one breathing hard anyway, because we ain't run far enough yet. You know what I mean? Like, why? It's because we rolled up here in 20 armored vehicles. Like, we're not running anywhere. You know what I mean? So like, I wish I would have had some breathing techniques. And then kind of in the same vein, I wish like, with the breathing, it's a de-escalation technique for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I know like police teach de-escalation. If they look at like de-escalation as, I don't care about the bad guy if I shoot him or not. Like I really give a shit. I hope I do. You know what I mean? Add that to my belt. The reality is like you could be using those techniques to calm yourself down, to stay calm enough for long enough to make the best decision you can make. Generally you make that like first decision, the first report from the battlefield, it's always wrong. You know what I mean? Stay calm enough for long enough, and then it'll come to you. Like, what are we going to do here? And then that's not easy to do. And that comes with the breathing, you know what I mean? And that's something I had to learn. But if I'd say one thing, like, it would be the breathing for that.
When did breath work start coming into your discipline?
Man, I started doing it a couple years ago. A friend of mine gave me this is a YouTube video, I think, like some Viking dude's voice doing some breathing. So like I followed it. Like it's horrible too. Like I didn't know how to hold my breath. I'm just listening to this video. I thought it was pretty cool, and I thought like breathing, it's a good thing to do. I should try this, right? Maybe it'll calm me down. Maybe anyway. And then I listened to this Viking dude's voice, and then like I don't know. I kind of plugged my own nose from time to time, like, because I couldn't believe I couldn't hold my breath. Like I'd only hold my breath for like a short period of time, and it's like, how's that even possible? Like I just sucked in a lot of air, so I try to hold my nose. I was horrible to myself. I try to hold my mouth and my nose. It's like a bad date for myself. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I used to think that every time, and then I started thinking it's like a bad date, and then that would make me laugh, just like you did. And now, like, I can't breathe no more, right? So I did this for a while till I could actually do it. And then a guy one day, he was like, "Do you do breathing?" And I was like, "Well, I listened to this video. I kind of got good at it." What I didn't know, it was that Wim Hof guy, and there's a fucking app for that. There's a fucking app for that. Yeah. I didn't even know that. So I'm like listening to this Viking guy date raping myself all the time, right? And then, but the truth is like, there was an app for that. I got the app, and then I try to breathe most days. I try to do breathing.
I try to breathe most days too.
Do you do the Wim Hof app?
No, just like say live.
Oh yeah. No, I try to every day like do some focused breathing.
Now, a lot of my breath stuff has actually been on how we breathe and use the diaphragm for stabilization. That's how I like help people get out of back pain and lift more weights than anybody else.
Balance your core.
Yeah, so it's
pressurized,
it's diaphragmatic breathing, but
that's what I do too.
Yeah, right. And so, but I did recently read James Nestor's book, Breathe, and that was really good. It covered a lot of different methodologies. It covered Wim Hof as well as many, lots of other, historical, uses of breath work and different traditions and the similarities and kind of history on it. It's really, really good. Check it out if you want.
I'll check that out. Yeah.
It was, for a book about that, it was actually really engaging.
Yeah.
It was really, really well done.
Yeah. I might have read it already, to be fair. Because I've read some good books on breathing, right? But I didn't know nothing about it when I started it, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then I got my purple belt from Hicks and Gracie, and he does breath work. He wrote a book named Breathe, and he's big into breathing. And I got to be honest, it's worked for me a few times. Like, a guy has had me in the perfect choke where, like, I should just tap him in every way in jiu-jitsu. Like, this person gets an A+ and I get an F, and I'll just take a couple deep breaths like he showed me, and I'll have more air and I can hold my breath for longer than you got squeeze in you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I've been kind of using my breath as a weapon a little bit, like he showed me. Kind of hard for me. I'm old and fat, so I'm always breathing super hard. You know what I mean? So, like, getting those couple deep breaths is not as easy as you think, but the time where I've kind of done it, it's really kind of changed my game on a few things, because now I can survive a position that, like, people think I can't survive in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then at some point, I always, like, this is what I think in my head when I've been using it the past couple weeks. I kind of think in my head at some point they gotta let go. I'm the snake in this scenario, but I think this in my head. I always think at some point they gotta let go of the snake. You know what I mean? And, like, I'm the snake, right? And, like, if they just gave something all they had, they're at their weakest point. You know what I mean? And this is, like, has to be now my power move. You know what I mean? So I do breath work. I love it. I think it's important for anything you do, life. And I wish I was trained to breathe properly most of the time through my nose. And I wish someone would have shown me that when I was a kid.
I know. Damn straight. So, yeah, my audience knows my background, but for you, like, I've been incredibly influential in the strength sports and sports performance world as it relates to use of the diaphragmatic breathing and proper orientation of the diaphragm to pelvis, and actually the phenomenal performance that it can bring. And that's why I demonstrated that with my 1,000-pound squat, my 1,000-pound deadlift, but also tons of athletes, because everybody was doing this very big, large mouth breath and, expanding of the chest. And, I really changed the paradigm around that. It's like, dude, you're not gonna fucking die during your lift.
The lungs are in the bottom, man. They're down there. Yeah.
So, but getting that diaphragm to descend, that outward pressure, and how that actually stabilizes the spine. Anyway, and there's a lot of stuff that happens from the nervous system as well when it turns off a lot of systems that are down regulating our potential, basically. And so you have now full access to your neurological drive, and so boom, all of a sudden it's like you're 10% stronger, just like that. And so it's been a big impact in
breathing's crucial.
So
I love it.
People used to laugh at me at first, and then this, because I've been doing this for almost 15 years, but then after a while, people started taking notice and really kind of changed the entire discussion in that realm. So,
yeah, I mean, the lungs are down there, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you need that, not up here.
Yeah. They are actually up here, but thinking about it down there, it filling the belly, like, creates that extrinsic cue, creates that dissension of the diaphragm, and so that modeling it that way in your mind really does work. Yeah,
that's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah.
So, well, I've really enjoyed this discussion with you today. Is there anything else that you would like to make sure is passed along to our audience, and also make sure they know where to find you, find about what you're doing?
Resilience, man. Like, I would say this is like, I don't know. I think if you're out there and you're watching this, right, whatever fragile is, the opposite of that. You drop me, I'm going to get stronger, right? And then every day, try to learn something.
Yeah.
Right? Every day.
And
every day.
if you want to learn about shooting, I mean, John is an absolute fucking legend in his one of the most respected people in the game in regards to that. So SOB Tactical.
That's right. Yeah, I just taught classes today. I had great classes today, although the weather not so great. But I taught classes today. Yeah, SOB Tactical. Come check me out. I'll show you how to do this. Like super easy, no pressure, no stress. Right, come out. I'll show you how to do it. It's what I do every day.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to take you up on that myself.
I told you could come out, man. I know.
I have my mom's funeral this weekend, so.
Oh, good. I get it. I get it. But hey,
otherwise, I was wanting to do something.
I will be down the road at the same place next year.
Okay.
So you'll have to come out. I'll show you how to do this. I'll mark up your hands with the marker. You'll be part of the tribe. You know what I mean? Like on your way to mastery. You know what I mean?
I love it.